Welcome everyone. In this video, we are going to learn about how to do CRUD operation. We are going to see create and read, and also we are going to see some runtime errors and how to rectify those errors. For create operation, we have to use post method, but we cannot directly use the post method in the browser. We have to use forms. We didn't create any forms in our application. We need some interface to connect with our API. We are going to communicate with our server API by using the Postman. For that, you have to install the Postman, or else you can work Postman browser itself. Let's go to our project. In We have defined the port number 4000. We have created the schema and model. Our server is running. Now go to the Postman. You can create your workspace here by creating a collection, and also we can create new HTTP request workspace by clicking new and select the HTTP option. Here we can give the request in the URL. We can use this Postman by providing the URL http colon double slash 127.0.0.1 colon 4000 is our port number. Click send and we will get the answer. This is from server as we saw in the browser. So we have seen our root URL, that is 4000. We are going to check for /student /login/student /:id. Now I am going to give /login. I am getting the result as this is login page. Now I am going to give /student root. I am getting this is student page. Next I am going to give the student /5001 and clicking send. I am getting the response for the root. This is student detail of 5001. Now I am going to check by using the post method. I am going to give this root. I am getting the error cannot post /students because we didn't define anything for this root by using the post method. This tells that we don't have any definition for the post method for this root /students. So we have defined only get method app.get. Now go to our routing file, routing.js file, and let's create a root definition for this. So I'm going to create the method create student. So it's going to be export, right? So I'm going to use exports dot create student equal to, we have the parameters request and response. It's going to be a arrow function syntax. Here I am just passing response dot send of new student created or inserted. Let's save our file, and in this server.js going to call that function by using the post method app.post. The first argument is /students. This is our root. Then second argument is the callback function which is defined in the root, that is root object root.create student. So create student we have defined here, and also we have called here. There is no error. Our server is working fine. Restarted, and now give By using the get method, we are getting this is student page. By the post method, we are getting the error because we didn't give the root properly. That is slash students is the root, but I have specified slash student. So I got the error cannot post slash student. Again, we are getting the error. Sometimes the nodemon have stuck with that because continuously I'm working with the server. So you have to restart again by right click on the command prompt or terminal. Now I'm going to give post method. I am getting the result. New student is inserted. Now let's go to the VS Code. I'm going to give proper definition for create student. We are going to insert a document in the MongoDB by using the following code. The database operation should be inside the try and catch so that we can find the errors, the runtime errors easily. Just type try, you will get try catch option. If you click that, you will be automatically created with try catch. In the try block, we have to give the database operation code. Okay, for that, I'm going to insert the student using create method. For that constant student equal to, we have to import the schema file which is stored in the student.js. If you type student, you will get the options. Here you have the schema name and which is stored in the dot slash student. So if you click enter or if you select on that option, you will automatically import that student file. Or else you can type here I am going to create const student equal to student dot create. It is a method to create new document in the database. What are the parameters we are going passing? We are going to have student name, student department, email ID, and marks. Those are the options or parameters or field or properties should be passed. Okay, we can specify in the JSON format. So where we can get that values in the postman, we will pass the post option. We will pass the JSON format input in the body section. So that will be in the request dot body. Let's go to the postman and input the values. See what are the fields we have. We have student underscore name. I'm going to give some name and for the student underscore department CSE and next field is email ID. I'm copying from here and I'm going to paste in the postman email ID. I'm just giving ravi123 at gmail.com. Next field is marks, which is the last field marks. I'm going to paste here and the value is 82. Now I have entered the input values and in the routing create method we have to pass the value of this by using the request.body. So once the document is created in the database, student in the database is going to give some promises in the student. So I'm going to return that document or which information stored in the database that should be given back as the response. So that I'm going to set response dot status 201.json. Here in the JSON, I'm going to pass data is a student. So data is the field name and student is the data is the field name, and the which student is inserted, that should be in the variable student. So that is going to be in the catch block. We are going to catch that error during the runtime, and it going to be stored in the error object. That error object is going to be sent as a response. Now let's save all the files and go to the command prompt or terminal. We are getting some error. Cannot use import statement outside the module. Okay, where in server.js file. In the server.js file, I had a mistake. That is, in the Node.js, we have to import the modules by using the require method. But I have used import statement. Okay, so just remove this file, remove this line, and import properly const student equal to require dot slash students. That is in the root path dot slash student. Okay, now save all the files and go to the command prompt. Now server is started and connected to DB. There is no error. Now go to the MongoDB and check whether the students students collection is created or not. See here in the test we didn't specify the database name, so automatically the application will create a database as test. Inside we have students. Let's go to our and we have to provide the database name. Now I am going to give the database name as student db, db in capital, db in uppercase. Now save the file. Database operation is going to be a asynchronous function. You have to use async keyword in the function definition, and also the database operation student.create. You have to provide await keyword. Okay, we have to give asynchronous in the function definition, and we have to use await keyword in the database operation. Let's go to the Postman and check whether we are getting the output or not. We are not. Our request is still processing because we have an error. What is the error? Student validation failed. We didn't receive any output. Refresh it. We are getting the error is name is required field. Here I made the mistake. Student name, instead of student name stud name, I mentioned stdu. So in the input I had a mistake. So I'm going to correct it. And now click send button. So I'm going to stop and start the server. Now server is started and connected to database. Now I'm going to give the request. So now the document is successfully created in the database, that is returned to our Postman. Let's go to the MongoDB Atlas. Just click the database name. Our database name is student DB. Just click on that and we have students collection. In that we have our document, student name, Ravi CSE. Okay. Now the document is inserted. Let's go to the VS Code to implement read operation. Now I'm going to retrieve the student by ID. In the getStudent method, I'm going to command this line for your reference, and then inside the try, I'm going to write a code to retrieve a student. For that, we have to use const student equal to, we have to use await keyword, await student. Student is a model name which is defined the student.js, student.find. We have to find the student by ID, right? So we have to pass the ID which is retrieved from the parameter in the query string or URL. Here request.param.id will give the value of the ID which is passed in the URL during the request. As we have used await keyword showing error, right? We have to use async keyword in the function definition. Then the student.find method is going to return a promise. That promise is stored in a variable called student. That student will be sent as a response. To send the response, we have to use rest.status. We can just use rest.json. Before that, we are using rest.status of 201 that tells that success status code, and .json. In the JSON method, we are passing the student value. We can specify student colon student, that is first student specifies the field name and the second student specify the value that is stored from the promise. Instead of that, we can omit these two students by single student like this. So JSON will understand student, the field name is also student and the value is also student. It will be taken from the variable name. In the catch block, I am going to respond with the error if any error occurred. Then go to the Postman, change the method as a get, and I am going to copy the ID of the recent student which is stored using the post method and click send. So the data retrieved from the MongoDB for the ID passed in the URL. Let's go to the VS Code. Now we will see how to get all the students from the database. For that, we have the root /students. The /students calls function getStudents. Inside that, we have try block. Inside the getStudents method, we have to perform read operation. To retrieve the students from the database, we have to use find method on the model. Now we have to code inside the try block so that we can avoid runtime errors. Inside the try, we have to get the students and we have to store it in variable students. So const students equal to await of student dot the model name dot find. We don't want to pass any argument inside the find method so that it will retrieve all the documents from the database. Student.find method will return the promise that is stored in the students variable. That students variable send as a response for this URL or for this root. So that we have to use rest.status.json. See here, response.status201 status201.json, we are doing function chaining. I am passing just students. I am not specifying the field name and the value. I am just specifying the student so that the JSON will understand students is the field name and also the value. In the catch block, I am going to give error message res.send. Inside the try block, we have to specify the database operation which is going to produce runtime error. Now check the terminal whether our server is started and connected to DB. So successfully connected. Now choose the get method, and so for the get students we have defined the root /students. Let's go to the Postman. Select the method as get, and before that I am going to insert some more data using the post method. Name is Kavin and department is EEE, and mail to kavin@gmail.com, and also marks. Now just click send. Now the new data of the student Kavin is inserted. Let's check in MongoDB. Just refresh. In the MongoDB, we will get 2 students inserted in the database in our collection students. Let's check whether get method is working or not. For that, select get method and the URL is students. So we are getting some error. Cannot set getter after they are sent to the client. So where we are getting this error? We are getting the error in the routing.js 48th line. Okay. Likewise, you have to find the error so that we can easily clear our error. Go to router.js file. See here, I have already sent response in the try block and also catch block. After that, I am trying to send the response using response.send. So it is a error. Save the code and run. So we are getting the 2 students which is available in our MongoDB database. Now I am going to insert some more data to validate our data. Check whether our validation is working or not. For that, I am going to insert new student document Shalini and the department is ECE. Now the data is inserted. Now check whether we are stored in the MongoDB. See here, we have inserted the new student. Now check whether we are retrieving. We can retrieve all the data by the get method. Yes, we are retrieve all the documents in the students collection. Now I am going to delete the new students to check the validations are working properly or not. So validation we have applied for the mail ID and also marks. For the mail ID, we have specified lowercase is true. So if you are passing the email ID in uppercase letter, it automatically convert to the lowercase letter. So inserted. Now let's check in the MongoDB. Just refresh it. The data is inserted and also the mail ID is converted as lowercase letter. Let's check the get method also. We are getting the all the three documents. Okay, we have specified the mail ID lowercase to true, so that uppercase is converted to lowercase. Now let's check for the marks. For the marks, we have specified the minimum mark is 50, right? I am going to insert the new document with the mark 48. So I am going to insert by clicking the send. We are getting the error message, validation error. What is the error message? Low marks entered. Minimum mark is 50 and we have entered as 48, and the where we are getting the error in the path is mark. In the mark we got the error. Likewise, we can validate our data. In this video, we have learnt about create and read operations in the CRUD, and also we have seen some basic validations. In the next video, we will see about how to delete, update the document. Thank you everyone.